Have you ever wondered why some desires seem to never manifest, no matter how much you want them with all your heart? Maybe the answer lies in something most people can't see, or worse, ignore: the invisible matter that weaves the universe together. Yes, there is a secret code that's not in books, nor in pretty motivational words. It lives in the space between your thoughts, in the silence between your heartbeats. And when you access that space, everything changes. Invisible matter is the essence of creation. It's the field where thoughts become form, where intentions are shaped into tangible realities. But few people know that it only responds to commands coming from the right state of consciousness, the one where there is no doubt, no rush, only certainty. You've been in that state before, maybe in a vivid dream, or in that rare moment when everything seemed to flow perfectly. That moment wasn't random. It was a glimpse into the code that governs everything around you. The secret: reality doesn't manifest when you wish. It manifests when you feel that you already are. The key is not to ask, it's to remember. And this is where the true awakening begins. Because if you understand how to touch that invisible matter, you can rewrite your story, not with words, but with pure intention. And that is frightening, because it gives you power. But what happens when you realize the universe was always responding to you? You were just speaking the wrong language. Imagine that there's a substance that responds not to words, but to the vibration behind them. This substance is the fabric of reality. It listens to emotions, picks up intentions, and shapes experiences according to your inner state. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is what you emit. Invisible matter responds to what's behind your request. If you wish out of desperation, it hears lack. If you wish with confidence, it hears abundance. That's why so many people don't understand why their positive affirmations fail. Because while they say, "I am rich," they vibrate fear, debt, scarcity. And the invisible field picks up exactly that. Not the words, but the energetic truth behind them. This invisible matter is moldable, but it requires vibrational coherence. When mind, heart, and body are aligned, reality bends. When they're in conflict, reality resists. You don't need to shout to the universe. You need to whisper with coherence. And for that, the first step is to silence the noise of doubt inside you. Think of the universe as a quantum mirror. It doesn't give you what you want. It reflects what you are. This means it's not enough to imagine wealth, love, or success. You have to embody that state, even before there's any outer evidence. This is why so many visualizations fail. People imagine the future they want, but still vibrate like victims of the past. And the quantum mirror only reflects that frequency back. The universe is precise, but it's not logical. It responds to your dominant vibration, not your wish list. That's why the training isn't external. It's internal. It's about changing your energetic identity, not your requests. When you change from within, the universe follows. And not because it was convinced, but because it was mirrored. Your body is not just flesh and bone. It's a living antenna. Every cell vibrates, transmits, and receives signals from the invisible field. The state of your body determines the clarity of your transmission. A body in anxiety sends out distorted signals. A body in presence sends out clear commands. That's why practices like conscious breathing, meditation, and even intentional silence are key. They help you tune your frequency. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if your body is at war, the message arrives distorted. The mind focuses, the heart feels, but the body anchors. Without that anchor, your manifestations float in the quantum field, never landing. There is a place inside you where everything is silent. No doubt, no fear, no expectations. Only absolute presence. That place is known by many as the zero state. It's where invisible matter is most sensitive to your intention. In the zero state, you don't ask. You command. Not out of arrogance, but from alignment. Because in that space, you remember, you are part of the whole. This is where the greatest miracles manifest. Not by effort, but by resonance. The more you practice entering this state, the more natural manifestation becomes. It's the opposite of trying. It's the act of allowing. Have you noticed how the universe rarely responds with words? It responds with signs, coincidences, random encounters that change everything. That's the language of the invisible. Synchronicity. When you're aligned, the signs multiply. You think of someone and they appear. You feel the urge to turn left and find exactly what you needed. This isn't magic. It's real communication, just in a subtle language. And the more you trust, the more fluent you become in that language. The invisible doesn't speak with sounds. It speaks through meaningful events. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the tangible. What you feel deeply, the universe understands as truth. You can repeat an affirmation 1,000 times. But if it's not infused with real emotion, it's just noise. On the other hand, a single visualization filled with emotion can shift your entire reality. Because emotion is the fuel of manifestation. It imprints vibration on the field. Want to transform your life? Start feeling what you want as if it's already real. With all your senses. With all your being. That's how the invisible bends. There is a sacred pause between one thought and another. A brief space where the ego goes quiet and the field responds. It is in that gap that creation happens. Not when you think more, but when you silence the noise. Most people live imprisoned by relentless thoughts. And every thought filled with fear, doubt, or control blocks the flow. But when you learn to rest in that space, even for seconds, you activate something greater. You don't need to control the mind. You just need to find the gaps between it. That's where the invisible matter listens. The quantum field does not judge. It doesn't care whether your desire is good or bad. It simply responds to your dominant vibration. That's why many people attract chaos unknowingly. They say they want peace, but vibrate anger. They say they want abundance, but vibrate scarcity. The field is neutral. It only amplifies what you consistently emit. This is frightening, but also liberating, because it means you can change everything from within. There is no punishment, only resonance. Repetition is a forgotten key. Not because the universe needs it, but because you do. When you repeat an intention with presence and emotion, you reinforce the energetic path. As if you're carving a channel into the field. First, it feels forced, but over time, it becomes natural. Until one day, it's no longer repetition. It's identity. And when the intention becomes part of who you are, the field responds effortlessly. Sacred repetition is not insistence. It is vibrational enchantment. You were taught to chase results. But in the game of manifestation, results are side effects, not targets. Reality is simply a reflection of the vibration you hold. Focusing on the reflection is like trying to change the mirror, not the face. The true master focuses on the inner state, because they know that when they shift, everything around them shifts too, as a natural consequence. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you become. Reality then stops being a struggle and becomes a response. We live in a culture that glorifies effort. But in the subtle world of creation, excessive effort is disguised resistance. This doesn't mean inertia. It means acting from alignment, not from lack. When you're truly connected to the field, action is light, fluid. There is no struggle, only inspiration. Manifestation happens not when you push, but when you flow with the rhythm of creation. To force is to try to control. To flow is to trust the invisible. What you call impossible is just a code your mind hasn't yet learned to decipher. It's not the universe that limits you, it's your programming. Every reality already exists on some level, and the miracle is simply the unlocking of that code. But to access it, you must unlearn. Yes, unlearn what the world taught you about logic, time, and worthiness. The impossible bows to the one who vibrates outside the consensus. Because in the quantum field, the improbable is routine. Forget pretty words. Forget even well-structured thoughts. What truly shapes reality is emotion felt with intensity. Emotion is the code the field understands. And each emotion is an energetic password for a specific kind of reality. That's why imagining without feeling is like typing the wrong password. Nothing opens. But when you visualize and feel deeply, you tune in to the frequency of what you desire. And the field only knows how to say one thing when the vibration is pure: yes. Want to change your life? Start by being silent. Not to escape, but to hear the field. In silence, you notice what was always there, but drowned out by inner noise. It is in silence that truth arises. It's where intuition speaks, where the code is revealed. Stay silent long enough, and the universe whispers solutions. Because in the invisible world, silence is a language. The desire you cling to with desperation never comes, but the desire you release with trust flies to you. Attachment creates resistance, because behind attachment is fear, fear of not having, of losing, of failing. But when you let go, not out of giving up, but out of certainty, you activate true manifestation. Letting go is declaring, I trust, and the universe always responds to trust with materialization. We live in a rush, craving instant results. But in manifestation, the right direction matters more than any race. What's the use of running fast if you're headed the wrong way? The correct frequency may take time to stabilize, but once it's stable, reality responds quickly. Don't worry about how far it is. Focus on holding the vibrational course, because in the field, those who stay aligned always arrive. You were conditioned to believe the world is made of solid things. But the truth is, everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. The chair you sit on, the body you inhabit, the money you desire, none of it is truly solid. They are patterns of condensed energy. That's why those who shift frequency shift form. You don't need to change the outside world. Just change the field you emit, and the world rearranges itself. Because reality isn't physical. It's vibrational. The quantum field is neutral. It doesn't judge. It doesn't reject. It doesn't say, you deserve this. Not that. It only responds. It reflects. And what does it reflect? Your most dominant vibration. If you vibrate fear, it amplifies. If you vibrate certainty, it materializes. If you vibrate lack, it shows emptiness. The field never says no. It simply mirrors what you are saying to it. As long as you want, you're still telling the universe that you don't have. But when you vibrate as if you already possess it, there's no more gap. Manifestation happens when your inner state is already whole. You stop seeking, and you begin to emanate. And in that emanation, everything comes. Because you're not asking. You're living the reality before it appears. And that is the language the universe understands. You don't need gurus or magical formulas. Everything you seek is already inside you. You are the field. You are the invisible matter. You are the code itself. And when you realize that, something shifts, because you stop waiting for signs and start being the sign. Reality around you starts to respond differently, because now you're not trying to create, you're accessing what already exists. You remember you were never separate from what you desire. Never. You can say beautiful words, affirm all day, shout your desires to the sky. But the universe doesn't hear what you say. It hears what you feel in silence. What you don't speak, but vibrate. What you suppress, but carry. What you desire, but fear. That is the true language the field decodes. So aligning isn't about speaking louder. It's about feeling deeper. The universe doesn't respond to perfection. It responds to truth. When you drop the masks, when you stop trying to appear strong, positive, or enlightened, something magical happens. Your frequency becomes clean, powerful, real. Because the invisible matter isn't fooled by pretty words or forced smiles. It bows to authenticity. When you vibrate who you truly are, even with fear, even with doubt, the field recognizes you. And it responds. Manifestation begins the moment you allow yourself to be real. From the beginning, it was you. You thought you needed to attract. But all you ever did was allow what was already yours to be revealed. You didn't create from nothing. You accessed what always existed on a frequency above fear. And now that you know this, nothing will be the same. You no longer need to beg the universe. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to chase. You just need to remember who you are. And if this video stirred something within you, then your journey of conscious manifestation has already begun. Now is the time to act. Like, comment, and subscribe to the Attraction Code. Because this is just the beginning, and the next reality you step into will be even more powerful.